Hey, welcome back to the Hangar Hideout. I'm Mike.
And I'm Mike. And that's not Mike.
I'm Anthony.
And today he brought his C7 Z06 in because that new Magnuson Supercharger, it's not breathing too well.
So we're going to do headers, X-pipe with cats though. So EPA, you don't have to come after us.
Thanks, EPA.
Yeah. And hopefully Anthony can help out where he can.
Yeah, I have no idea what I'm doing.
That makes two of us. So to get started, we gotta get this fuse box out, we gotta get these coil packs out, spark plugs, gotta make a little room. It's quite tight in here.
That's what she said.
We got to start by taking this fuse box out. We got to pull the coils out, spark plug wires, spark plugs. Same on that side.
I said like the exact same thing.
Well, here we go again. So to start out, you're gonna wanna remove the fuse box on the passenger side. It's fairly simple. All you gotta do is remove two wires off that terminal on the side there. And from there, you just take those two levers and you rotate them inward towards the top, and that thing will pop right on off. Next is the bottom. So for the bottom, you have 5 big blue clips you kind of need to slide outwards, and there's going to be 3 10mm bolts at the bottom. Undo those bolts, that puppy comes right on out. Next, we focus our attention on everything else, which is going to be the spark plugs, the coil packs, and the plug wires. Everything that both Reach and I said, because we said the same thing. Unplug the coil wires from the packs, and then go ahead and take your coil packs off. You could take them off one by one, or you could take off that bracket and try to slide them out. We did them one by one. Once you get those coil packs off, you pull the spark plug wires off the spark plugs, and you gotta get your 5/8 socket to pull out them spark plug.
Coil packs are off, spark plugs off, plug wires are off. Now we gotta work on the exhaust manifolds. Can I suggest something? If you're gonna do this, get a friend with small hands or a small child, because neither of us have small hands.
And don't drop wrenches under the car.
No, that's already lifting it
That's
up.
why I'm lifting it up.
Might I recommend quick jacks?
Sponsorship, we're down. Next step, we got to pull off these exhaust manifolds and go under the car, pull off all 14 catalytic converters this car has, and the X-pipe.
Now wait a second, before you take off those exhaust manifolds, do yourself a favor and remove the heat shields. I don't know about you, but it really annoyed me, and I figure if it annoyed me, it'll probably annoy you a little bit too. So just take them off. They're 3 bolts, and then boom, you're done. Once you get those heat shields off, then you could take off the exhaust manifolds. It's 10 bolts, just undo them all. Make sure to leave like 2 bolts hand tight, because you don't want them falling out the bottom or anything. Just leave 2 in, just a little bit.
Now it's time to get under the car. Get quick jacks. It makes life so much easier.
Yeah.
Next, we need to tackle the cats, the collector, get everything under the car out. Anthony, have you learned anything so far?
Yeah, just to stay out of your way.
He's learning.
You're my way.
Now before we go pulling off the exhaust, we do need to remove part of the rear bumper. And that's because the exhaust tips go into that little hole there, so you gotta remove it so you have a little bit more wiggle room. It's fairly simple. All you have to do is remove all like 100 screws from the bottom, and then it's just clips. Just a tip when you're pulling off the clips is if you push the bumper upwards towards the top of the car and then pull off, it comes a lot easier. And remember, it's really scary pulling off plastic panels, but 9 times out of 10, if it's not coming off, you just gotta pull like a little bit harder. Then you could go ahead and take off the X-pipe. X-pipe's really simple. It's really just 4 clamps. You got 2 going to the muffler, and then you got 2 going to the cats. You're probably gonna want 2 people on this because those suckers were stuck on there real good. Originally, we did try to skip this next step, but sadly, you do need to remove those 4 bolts where the collector side of the manifold go to 2 of the cats. Those things were so stuck on there, and this is a low mileage car that doesn't see bad weather. You really need to take those 4 off on each side, release the manifolds, and you're good to go. Bring a breaker bar.
The stock exhaust manifolds are off. Word of the wise, separate the manifold from the collector, And I think both come out the bottom. Driver's side going top, bottom, I don't know. But now it's time to put our long tubes on. These are American Racing long tube headers. We're gonna try to put them in from the bottom first, and then if that doesn't work, the top.
They're 1 7/8.
Also, they're 1 7/8.
The driver's side went in super easily from the bottom, and if you don't have someone there to help you, you can always use a jack stand to prop up the header, and then you could slap in the bolts. Of course, don't forget the gaskets. They're directional, so make sure to take a look at it. It'll tell you if it's on the manifold side and which way should be pointed up. So this is where all the bad news comes into play, and the reason why we had to bleed into another day. And that, of course, is the passenger side. If you have a Z06, and I believe the Grand Sport has this too, well then you have a dry sump oil tank, which means you're gonna have 2 oil lines that run across the passenger side. We tried every single thing we could think of to try to put them in without removing them, mainly because we didn't have oil and we didn't want to go get oil. The moral of the story was don't be lazy and do it the right way. Long story short, we ended up taking out one of the oil lines, and it was the one closest to the rear of the car. Once you have the headers up in place, throw a couple of bolts in there, just hand tight, because we're gonna need some play to adjust the exhaust.
Alright, looks like we're all finished up here. Now we have the car up in the air. We're gonna tighten down all the clamps for the X pipe all the way back. And then we should be done. Put the rear bumper on. We've got no Palma today though, so he bailed on me. Should be used to it though. I do all the work anyways. So.
When you're putting on the rest of the exhaust, make sure you line it up and you just put the clamps hand tight. We're gonna want movement, otherwise you're gonna get wonky exhaust tips. And nobody wants wonky exhaust tips. Once you got your exhaust tips aligned, go ahead and tighten everything down, make your way back to the engine bay, tighten down your header bolts, put in your spark plugs, your plug wires, your coil packs, and finally, the fuse box.
Headers are all bolted up, exhaust is all tightened, bumper's back on. We're all done. Just gotta see how it sounds now. Anthony? I hope you enjoyed watching us put headers and X-pipe on the C7 Corvette to make this thing a lot louder and sound a lot better. If you liked what you saw, give us a like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah, we got some.
Maybe if you stop talking, I can.
Fucking ass out of the shop.
Yeah. I'm out, okay?
It's like you're holding a penis. 7/8 American Acing? Acing? Fuck it, I'm not even saying it.
Oh, you aced that.